You know, if I see something, I see an opportunity, I'm gonna go for it. I'm here to crack the pavement and make new grounds culturally.
If you ain't with us, you in our way. That's a hell of a way to start a conversation. Question: why have a signature sneaker when you can be the architect of an entire sneaker lifestyle movement? Immune to failure, impervious to critique or criticism, eponymous to all things us. Kanye West, loud as kept, right now may be the most vital and eminent person in this entire ecosystem we call sneaker culture, and gave the whole millennial generation a repurposed meaning to the word coveted.
There's a lack of creativity in every field. As an artist, we could do whatever we want.
Remember the Bapesters from College Dropout? What about the Jaspers? Way before Virgil took over the house. And don't even mention the Red Octobers. Okay, we won't. Red Octobers! He knew that his insight and touch were more than Midas. He just needed a space for the world to catch up. And his sneakers, his low-key passion, became his entry point to the global recognition and domination he always felt he deserved. Nike was a marriage made in heaven, until it wasn't. Licensings and royalties clapped and sealed the deal. In the business of sneakers, one company's let go is another company's billion-dollar enterprise. In the 6 years since he signed with Adidas, Ye single-fistedly reshaped the fashion industry and elevated the sneaker culture to a place where the 1% has to, dare I say, deal with us and acknowledge him.
Boost is the industry-leading technology, and I had to use the best innovation.
350, 450, 750, 950, 500, 700. They're just numbers until you prefix them with Yeezy, the epitome of an embryotic line that epitomizes the movement. Yes, I said movement. Again, because once he entered the fashion game by way of footwear, Kanye has centralized a movement, the movement, that directly extends to Virgil being at Louis Vuitton, Heron Preston partnering with Calvin Klein, Don C collaborating with Jordan, and indirectly, Fear of God's Jerry Lorenzo being at Adidas, Pierre Moss's Curry Jean Ramon being at Reebok. His interest into the shoe game has now garnered a $1.8 million price tag on Sotheby's auction roster. A whole new space unoccupied until he kicked in the door. One of the most prized and sought-after sneakers in existence is how they describe the Yeezy 1 prototype in the auction house's press release of the shoe that started it all. Hell of a way to end the conversation.
We're joined with John Wexler, the former GM of the Yeezy category at Adidas, currently the VP of Shopify's Creator and Influencer Program. Thanks for joining us, John.
Oh man, it's a pleasure. Good to see you again.
What aspects of your personality kind of led you down the path of being a connector with people and someone that could identify, these big celebrities and talents that eventually could become an ideal brand partner?
In terms of like my own sort of perspective on things, my friends have always told me that I had this unique ability to kind of see things and anticipate what was coming from a trend perspective. And I'll never forget, like they still bring it up to this day. But the reality is that that matching of DNA and storytelling is the real critical component to that question. And so, there's lots of people who can create energy with an audience, but that magic it factor of people who can represent and embody a story for a brand, that takes another couple layers of thinking. And so I definitely try to tap into as many different thinkers as I can when it comes to those topics.
What was kind of the initial starting point for Adidas and Kanye's relationship?
We decided to go for him because obviously wanted to create traction and momentum with the target audience that was driving all culture. And that was really the audience of people that he was attracting, whether across his music or his footwear designs. But the defining factor for why he chose to partner was really that Adidas was offering all the toys in the sandbox, full creative control, and there was no cap involved. He always wanted to be not the canary in the coal mine is the reference. It wasn't like, hey, let's do something to see if this works. It was like, I want to go all the way, no half measures. And that's what makes him so special. He, understands his value and understands that his vision is maybe frustrating because people don't understand it at first, but once they get on board, I wouldn't bet against them.
From a big picture sense, how would you describe Kanye's sneaker legacy?
Most influential person in the history of sneakers, not an athlete. And I think that if you ask that question in another 20 years, we'll be able to remove that word not an athlete and it would just be the most influential person in the history of sneakers because no one's done what he's done. Even the comparisons to the only other thing that slightly resembles what his brand is, which is the Jordan brand, has 35 years, I want to say, of history at this point. That was a build. They did all these steps to name team colors and really establish that on court. Kanye came in completely from another direction and totally inverted the entire marketplace. I mean, he disrupted it. So until someone has the same ability to take on the level of risk he takes on every time he puts a new design in the marketplace, he'll just keep pushing boundaries of what footwear looks like until someone else takes him off the spot, in my opinion.
How do y'all feel about the way Kanye entered into the whole fashion game? I feel a certain way about it.
Why do you feel a certain way about it? I loved it.
For real?
Yeah, because he was taking stuff that was not historically in music like that, like the big backpacks, the polos, the pastels. It was a new perspective. It was like a fresh difference from where things were at.
Yeah, but I think he begged his way into it. He hadn't done anything from a fashion standpoint. He's yelling and screaming take them. I'm like, dudes have been designing for a long time who haven't got this chance. Why are you so special?
In the early days, he was real preppy, damn them new loafers hurt my pocket, and then he started wearing the leather pants and the Air Jordan 1s and the Air Jordan 3s, and then, he obviously got his chances with Nike and then eventually Adidas, and it was cool to see, him make his own mark on the footwear industry, with these incredible designs that, honestly are, in my mind, timeless.
Do you think that's one of the biggest mistakes Nike did by not signing him?
In my mind, the best Yeezy is the Nike Air Yeezy 2, and I think they missed a huge opportunity in letting him go.
But let's keep it real. This is a company that still tells itself it's a performance first. This is a non-athlete. What do you do with that, though?
I mean, you had S. Carter's, you had Jay-Z with a shoe, you had Nelly doing shoes, but they were doing colorways.
Right.
The way he was involved in inserting his design process and the vision of what he wanted the shoe to look like, that was totally unique. Nike had never worked with somebody like that. And I think maybe that's what made them uncomfortable. They only did 6 launches of Yeezys, 3 colors each of the 1 and 2s, and that was it. And he wanted to have a whole brand. He had this whole vision. Adidas says that he came into the first meeting, was talking about building Rome together. And that's kind of what they've done. Mm-hmm. And I think that was probably the gamble. It's his self-belief is his biggest trait that's gonna convince you that it's worth it. But if you don't think it's worth it, then that could be something you miss out on. And if you miss out, he's gonna go to the direct competitor and still try to build Rome over there. And so to see what they've done since 2015, it's a $1 billion brand now over at Yeezy. And that's with multiple silhouettes, clothes, everything else, all the stuff that he wanted to do at Nike.
And then in my mind, Kanye almost single-handedly ushered in the modern era of sneaker hype and also the craziness of resale. In my opinion, that started with the Air Yeezy 2, which released in, June 2012. The Platinums and the Solar Reds released. And then somebody actually, I don't know if you guys remember, somebody actually got like an early pair of them, put them up on eBay. They sold for $90K. Yeah. $90K. Fast forward a couple years, he makes the move to Adidas. February of 2015, I believe, his first Adidas Yeezy Boost 750, 9,000 pairs were released. They sold out in 1 minute. And I just feel like we hadn't really seen that before, especially in the digital age where people are going online, copying sneakers, and they're selling out in 1 minute. That's crazy to me.
He had Adidas for the first time have launch products.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't have stuff people were camping out like that. They didn't have iconic colorways necessarily, like Pirate Blacks and all these other Turtle Doves, like other themes. It was just before, like, more casual stuff, some hoop stuff, but it wasn't to what it was now.
Is he single-handedly responsible for the moment that we're living in as far as, I'll say, non-traditional people being at the center of fashion? You know, does Louis Vuitton even think about bringing a Virgil in?
Of course not.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All of this is because of him, correct?
And it's
Or
not
no?
just him, but it's also his web of contacts. So you could look at like a Matthew Williams, who's now at Givenchy, who used to work for Yeezy.
Yes.
Jerry Lorenzo that helped him out. He's now the head of Adidas basketball, has his own brand, Fear of God. All these guys that are under that Yeezy umbrella that came up with him, they've all branched out and now taken over brands as well.
What place do Kanye West sneakers have in, sort of the pantheon of, all-time best sneakers or silhouettes? Is a Yeezy 350 up there with, like an Air Jordan 1 or an Air Force 1?
I think the interesting thing about it is that, once again, we're going to performance and lifestyle. I think we're still in a mental state, as far as sneakers are concerned, that attaches them to some type of performance. There's always that athletic connection that I think is gonna elevate above what even Kanye can bring to a lifestyle situation.
See, and I thought he had the best answer ever. He said, I am a performance athlete. The Knicks sell out the Garden, I sell out the Garden as one person. And that's where he performs. So, I think that's the thing. It's like when you look at what he's touching into in terms of concerts, music, now fashion, and all these other things that he's involved in, I think he's right there in that conversation when you look at the all-time sneakers.
Oh, hell, Yeezy.